These Hamburg-based trend researchers are always on the hunt for the next big thing. Companies look to them to predict the trends of the future. The trend researchers analyze studies and surveys, visit trade fairs and stores. Antje Schünemann focuses on fashion. Does she think we'll soon be communicating with each other via sewn-in electronic chips?
You can see this in concepts today, which often have elements of science fiction. But in the future, there will be a greater merging of the body, clothing, and electronics.
In Berlin, designer Michael Michalski talks about urban nomads. Nowadays, more and more people are constantly on the move, but stay connected online. Fashion needs to adjust accordingly, becoming more functional and practical. Still, Michalski is more focused on his next collection than on the distant future.
I think designers have to react to what's going on around them, otherwise they're not relevant. I can sit down and create something, say a show costume with feathers. It might be very nice, but it doesn't mean anything. I see myself as a designer who's trying to reach the largest number of people possible.
Antje Schünemann pays frequent visits to those she considers trendsetters. Like this small boutique in Hamburg's hip St. Pauli district. Here, old high-quality fabrics, which have become rare, are recycled and resewn into unique new garments.
On the one hand, in our globalized mass market, fashion has become standardized. There's no escaping it. We have big fashion labels that sell their products around the world. But then there's the personal wish to be different, to radiate a kind of uniqueness, and people look for ways to do that. Vintage clothing continues to be popular and will play a big role in the future.
Moskau, dann haben wir hier Tokio, London,
Paris. Michael Michalski spends a lot of time abroad and believes that designers who live in high-growth economies will inspire the fashion world. Many of those countries, like China and India, also have young, increasingly fashion-conscious populations.
Those are all countries where a lot is going on. I think we have to free ourselves from the notion of high cultures, which used to influence culture generally. The US, for example, which is on a downward slope, is not so influential anymore. Instead, world culture will be driven by other countries.
The internet is also changing the fashion world. Antje Schünemann monitors blogs to find out what fashions young people like. She notes their increasing desire for clothes that are produced in an environmentally responsible manner. Antje Schünemann predicts that eco-fashion, as well as the fusion of fashion and digital technologies, will be the trends that definitively influence fashion to come. She says in future we might change color each time we step out the door, just like chameleons.
Imagine wearing a piece of clothing that sends out signals based on your mood and maybe changes color. These are visions that already exist today and that I find desirable for the future.
So perhaps the fashion of tomorrow involves designing a sort of second skin, one that's unique, functional, and flattering.
Welcome to the fashions of tomorrow as envisioned by design students. The futuristic creations can take your pulse and send the data to a laptop. The transmitter is concealed discreetly in a small pouch. At this lab in Denkendorf, the future has already begun. Researchers here are working to develop intelligent clothing by combining textiles with electronics, marrying the two to create what's called smart textiles.
It's all very exciting. It's the integration of electronics and various functional features. Scientists from many different disciplines are taking part in the project, including physicists, cyberneticists, biologists. That's what makes it so exciting.
It looks like an ordinary shirt and feels like one. But the inside of the garment reveals that this is intelligent clothing. Its sensors can record an EKG and even monitor breathing. Soon, it could be ready for use by firefighters. They'd wear it on duty along with an intelligent jacket.
The jacket will be connected to the T-shirt here, so the data recorded by the T-shirt is transmitted to the jacket. And the jacket will also monitor environmental parameters, like temperature. The surrounding temperature is recorded, and everything together is combined to give a status signal. A green light means everything's fine, yellow signals a technical problem, and red means danger, when the operation probably has to be aborted. Of course, there's also an acoustic alarm, so that the firefighters get a warning they'll notice even during stressful situations.
A miniature transmitter will link the firefighters to the control center. The data can also be transmitted using Bluetooth via a cell phone.
When I embed electronics in a textile, then I'm putting it into an elastic environment. It gets bent, creased, and washed. These are all situations you don't normally encounter with electronic components, so it's a special challenge.
The researchers in Denkendorf have risen to the challenge with ingenuity by integrating the electronics into the weave of the fabric. Under the microscope, the brightly colored threads are revealed as wires that conduct electricity. Weaving them into the fabric helps protect them and makes them more robust. The result is a textile that can conduct electricity and take a beating. How much of a beating is what the researchers are testing here. The smart textiles are being washed up to 150 times. After each washing, the testers check to see if the electronics still function. This romper suit also contains sensors. It's designed to monitor heart rate and breathing to help protect babies from sudden infant death syndrome.
On the back here, we can see the moisture sensors. They show if the baby is sweating a lot, which can indicate stress.
They've also designed a T-shirt that monitors how its wearer is moving and where. The movements are shown on a display. The T-shirt monitors motion in 6 different directions. If the wearer should stumble and fall, the T-shirt will transmit an alarm to call for help. The shirt is designed for elderly people who live alone. It's just one of many things intelligent clothing will be able to do one day.
Let's say an elderly driver has heart problems while behind the wheel. In a critical situation, the T-shirt will transmit the data to the vehicle, which then pulls over to the side of the road on its own, so no one else is put at risk.
The textiles themselves are also getting smarter with integrated nanotechnology and bionics to create new high-performance fabrics. For example, this cloth is resistant to stains and spills. It's perfect for something like aprons or baby bibs. The drop of ketchup rolls off the fabric just like a water droplet on a lotus blossom. It's made possible by a special coating modeled on surfaces found in nature. Even sticky honey doesn't stand a chance. The researchers are also experimenting with luminous fibers. They might soon be used to make easily visible patches for children's clothing and rain gear. The brave new world of textiles. Soon it may be even more amazing than today's young designers can imagine. Our studio guests are scientists. Does that leave them any time for fashion? Designer Andrei Subarev took a look at their sense of style.
One's dressed like a typical politician. There's also a witty element. The bow tie with a red jacket. That man has style. Good style. There was a time in the 19th century when scientists placed great value on looks. If you look at this portrait of Humboldt, you see how dapper he is. It's not like that today. Why not? I can't answer that. There's a great anecdote about Albert Einstein. Before he was so famous, he was asked if he'd buy a new trench coat because his old one was shabby. He answered, "No, no one knows me." After he became famous, he still wore the same trench coat and was asked, "Shouldn't you get a new one now?" And he said, "Why? Everyone knows me."
Claudia has trouble walking past an enticing boutique. But trying on the clothes can be time-consuming. Wouldn't it be great if it could be done differently? One thing that could spare her that trip to the changing room is an innovation developed at the Fraunhofer Institute for Telecommunications in Berlin. When Anna Hilsman tries on this T-shirt, she's furthering science. Hilsman is a computer scientist who's developed a virtual mirror. It turns her green shirt into a blue one with a different logo at the touch of a finger without her really having to change clothes. The shirt has to be green so the camera and computer recognize the surface that has to change color. The challenge is to make the virtual T-shirt move like real material along with its wearer. That's achieved with a sophisticated bit of software that computes the projection within milliseconds. But a few improvements are still needed.
There are research approaches and methods that try to simulate certain characteristics of fabrics, so that jeans act differently from silk, for instance. That's not in our system yet, but in future that would be the virtual mirror. When you stand in front of it, it recognizes the body position and then renders a cloth model based completely on computer graphics, so you can see how you'd look in different articles of clothing.
Whether fashions or accessories, shopping should be fun. Researchers working with Paul Hoyetsky at the Fraunhofer Institute have designed a solution. This interactive shop window invites passers-by to explore and admire its wares round the clock. It enables potential buyers to view the products from all sides without even entering the shop. Or you can try out different colors without even touching the window pane. Behind the playful facade is a lot of sophisticated technology.
Recognition through the window pane was one challenge we had to overcome. That's because the glass pane reflects. And we use infrared cameras. And you know how if you take a photograph through a window, there can be reflections. And they make the picture look completely different. And that's the problem we had to overcome.
The researchers based their solution on a program that recognizes gestures. Infrared cameras record the hands and the software calculates the position in real time. The program does that quickly and accurately. But isn't it tiring to have to keep moving your arm to see all the things for sale?
I don't assume any passerby would really stand there for 15 minutes. People or potential customers stop and look at what's in the window and try it out. And then they go on to buy, either directly from the window or by going into the shop. It's really meant for just a short period of interaction.
After many trips to the changing room, Claudia has made up her mind. Perhaps in the future she'd test the clothes virtually first, but the best part of shopping is still taking your new purchases home with you.